So I took my bike over here. I got a little bit wet on the way over, and but it was a great ride, lovely view. I was going along Lakeshore most of the way, and just by the golf course, looking to the right, I saw this beautiful rainbow going right over. So despite the rain, it was a lovely ride in. And I want to thank all the previous panelists for their contributions and for reorganizing what I wanted to say. I wish I had listened to them before making my presentation so that I could tie everything in. So I started the company a little bit over a year ago, I guess about a year and a half ago, using cargo bikes, trailers, and trikes to do sustainable urban delivery. So we deliver up to 500 pounds for and between local businesses. And we're working towards also doing the first and last mile. And so I really want to go, it's always easier for me to step back and answer the why first, before I get into the how. How do I manage to do this kind of business in Hamilton? The why, I was, how do I operate this? I ended up in the trucking industry after university and teaching for a little bit. And so I drove a little bit, saw North America. It was a great experience for a little while. And then I went into the office and managed drivers for about 5 years. So it was mostly a long-haul trucking operation, but we also had a division doing local trucking. And that experience, being an avid cyclist, even commuting between Hamilton and Aberfoyle for some time, combined with my concerns about our air quality and our environment and our overall health, really started grating on me. There are so many things in the global marketplace, the system we have set up in terms of our economy, where we get our goods, where we sell to, and how we get things there that are very unsustainable and unnecessary. And especially the first and last mile are the least sustainable. They are bad on just about every front. Drivers hate going into the city because it poses a lot more risks for them. It creates unsafe streets. You have a lot more fuel used once you get into the city with all the stopping and going. You have a lot more emissions also because of that. And of course, there's the road wear. So all of these things really, really bothered me on a very personal level. And when there's a corporate downsizing about 2 years ago, and I was one of the people that go in that downsizing, I just decided to go ahead and launch my business. And what I wanted to do is really use the right tool for the right job. Big trucks coming into small commercial districts, very often only delivering a few boxes or a pallet. That is not using the right tool for the job. On the other hand, if you were to take one of my bikes and go over into the industrial district and have a steel roll put on them, again, it would not be the right tool. I think we need to, as a society, look at, and this goes right through everything in terms of our road design, our building design, we need to reevaluate what are the right tools. So what I didn't want to just on impulse jump in, so I did a lot of research, and I discovered, first of all, also in cycling advocacy, whenever you mention Denmark or the Netherlands as examples, there's this negative reaction. Oh, well, this isn't Copenhagen. You know, it's just a way to dismiss the positive example you have just raised because it's not here. We are not them. What I found is that yes, Europe is ahead of us in active transportation for goods movement as well. But I didn't want to spend a lot of time on that because it's happening in North America as well. So I started doing research, and I found in Portland, now we know Portland is now becoming the North American sort of example that everybody holds up when it comes to cycling. And as a Hamiltonian, Portland is a great example for us because they have a very industrial background. There was more the pulp and paper mills instead of steel industry. They also had expressways running through the city. They are a city very much the same size. But there's a crucial difference. About 30 years ago, they decided to start ripping out expressways. They started to improve their design of the streets, to do traffic calming, to do bike lanes, to have a lot more green space in the downtown as well. So now one of the expressways going through is now a green space, a park that's going through the city. And so, of course, I found that in Portland, you have at least 3 companies doing what I do. You have Beeline Sustainable Urban Delivery. They also do up to 500 pounds using trikes, as you can see there. Doing all the downtown, all the core deliveries, office supply products, baked goods, all the small things that you don't need trucks for. Portland Pedal Power, again, they are using slightly smaller bikes, long-tail bikes on 2 wheels with a box built around the back, and they go between the various food places. Portland has a big food truck scene, but these trucks don't move around much. They're in a park that's designated for them. So now you have these bikes going from there to the office, to the park, wherever, bringing people their lunches. And then there's Soup Cycle, also in Portland. They cook fresh organic soups daily, and they use a bike to go and deliver them to people. And I believe it's on a subscription basis. So I saw lots of examples happening there, but it wasn't just in Portland. Go over towards the east, you have Metro Pedal Power. Again, they're using the Cycles Maximus trikes, and they do a lot of courier things, but they also do produce deliveries from local organic farms. And they've now been in operation for, I believe, 7 or 8 years and doing quite well. Revolution Rickshaws in New York City. And they have a lot of different things. One Revolution in Burlington, Vermont. They're also quite a young company, but another company in the New England area that is connecting food security with active transportation and delivering compost, picking up recycled materials and that sort of thing. And then also working with local food producers like bakeries bakeries and that sort of thing. Pedal People, these guys are very inspirational. They use bicycles and trailers up to 8 feet long, the trailers, bikes at work trailers. And their city doesn't have municipal recycling and compost pickup. So they filled that niche. So they now go around the city with their trailers and bins and do all the recycling and all the composting. And it's funny, they go right to the farms, and they'll have trailers sometimes, stacked high, 5-6 feet high of bales of hay or of compost. And right through the winter, maybe you can see the one little picture up there with, riding with a fair bit of snow. But we also have things happening in Canada. Montreal has made great strides in becoming a more cycle-friendly city. The expressways are a mess. I drove through there at sometimes when driving truck. But the core of the city now has separated bike lanes. There are many places where you can not only ride in the city, but it's just Montreal. It is surrounding communities. Small towns have cycling infrastructure. And you have I don't remember the figures now, what length, but it's well over 1,000 kilometers. The Route Verte that goes right up to the Gaspé Peninsula. So I'm not sure who mentioned the figures about cyclotourism. I think it was Councillor. So yeah, when you create infrastructure to make people feel safe, people just flood into that infrastructure. They take it up, and that's why I was so happy to hear the councillor saying that we need to just be bold and create the infrastructure. We can't keep spending so much time on consultations when people haven't had the experience. And the same thing was done in New York City, where Commissioner Janet Sadiq Khan just decided to put things in. And yes, there was some backlash, but in many cases, there was just such an upsurge of modal share for cycling that the infrastructure stayed. So we need to be bold, and we need to just go ahead and do things. Now, this company in Montreal, they use mountain bikes and trailers to do house moves. They move well over 1,000 households entirely by bike. What they do is they send 6 bikes and 6 trailers to a house, and it's roughly the same cost as having a truck do it, but you have it done completely sustainably. So they serve the entire, the core of Montreal for that. Toronto. Laurie Featherstone Two Wheels Green Delivery is now going into her 4th year of using her bike and trailer to do deliveries from farmers markets, from local restaurants and cafes in Kensington Market and so forth. Vancouver, Shift Cooperative. They started shortly after I did. There were a group of people from university got together and formed this co-op, and they also use trikes to do up to 500 pounds. Also, Victoria, BC, similar concept. So there are examples here. I tend to get carried away, so I'm just going to skip past all the text. Some of our customers listed here. So again, we started off and getting more to the how, not so much infrastructure here, but in terms of how to make this kind of a business happen. And I think it is similar to the way infrastructure works. You have to just do it. The market isn't quite ready. There are so many people who don't understand. What, a bike? You know, hauling all this stuff? You need a truck for that. So I decided to just go ahead and do it and grow the business organically. So it's one customer at a time, and start with a segment of the population that already wants to be more sustainable. So we started with a raw food chef, at a little print shop at McMaster University, Cake and Oak Bakery. Always take a trike full of their fresh baked bread to market every Saturday morning. I delivered their eggs from a local farm in Dundas. So word spreads from those little businesses, and people see these things happening. I recently started partnering with a coffee roaster, organic fair trade shade grown coffees, delivered within 3 days of roasting right to your doorstep. So we're bringing the milkman idea back for coffee, and we're starting a pilot project for produce from an organic farm in Dundas to do the same. So I am at the stage in growing this over a little bit over more than a year. Despite some of the challenges, infrastructure is an issue. but I'm at a point where I have all these people who now have a taste of what it's like, what can be done with human-powered and I say electro-human hybrid, because I have the trike that does 500 pounds, has an electric assist that works with the pedaling. So we have the escarpment in Hamilton, we also have a hill going up towards Dundas. So having that little bit of electric assist helps with the weight. I also do some distribution, so a local newspaper, Urbanicity. But getting to the how, in terms of infrastructure, initially I had the entire city as my service area. For the whole first year, I was ready and willing to go up the escarpment to service that market as well. And we are really, in Hamilton, we're very much, I always say it's a tale of two cities. What we call the mountain and the lower city are very different in terms of character as well as elevation. So I only went up there probably 3 or 4 times the entire year and decided to take it off and just service the lower city. But the bicycles I use, especially the trike, let me get over to some of what I've done. This is an 8.5 foot long cargo bike with cargo over the rear, smaller wheel, taking a desk for someone, an old wooden desk. But with the size of my bikes, I don't always need the infrastructure. I take a lane when I need to. And it's also a matter of knowing your rights under the law. Under the Highway Traffic Act, bicycles are vehicles. And when we need to for safety, we can take the entire lane. And I found that people are actually very good about it. In the lower city, I have rarely ever encountered any yelling or honking. I think there is a shift, and when they see that it is a work vehicle, maybe it's a bit different too. Taking a big espresso cabinet and machine for a local coffee, mobile coffee place. Women's press distribution, again, a cabinet. Rain barrels, another customer I have. Bread deliveries. So we had I started off doing bread deliveries completely on human power with a trailer behind a mountain bike and pallets. And that is the latest vehicle, at trike. So I was thinking about Dr. Taha's figures and formulas about wind resistance and all that, and about two wheels. Well, I'm breaking some of those things here. I've got a lot of wind resistance here, and I can feel the side as well, but it's on 3 wheels, so it's a lot more stable. Moving a queen-size bed. I'm not sure if anyone here knows the Café Domestique in Dundas, great little place. Again, full of bread there. And I think, so thank you for listening.